Alright everyone, welcome back. Another episode of the 2018 RAD rover. As you've seen in my previous episodes, I took out the battery, but I got the battery, I got it working. I've been waiting for my fenders. So, as you know, there's the box for the main bike that came in. I did call RAD Power Bikes, and I asked them about the fenders because in the tracking it shows that this and this came together and delivered. But what happened was basically they're paired. These two packages are paired, and when this was delivered it showed that both of these were delivered, but in reality they have separate tracking numbers. So I called the customer service. They told me they emailed me the tracking number for this, and I expect it to come today, and here it is. So these are my fenders. I'm going to unbox that, and then finally put it on the rear and the front. So this is going to be really nice. Anyways, let me cut in and cut out for that. Alright, I cut open the box, and this is what's in here. And it looks like two fenders. It's bent right here. And there you go. Hopefully that doesn't cause any bending damage. I hope not. So basically just bent this for the most part. Gonna have to check it out and open it, but that's pretty much it. And so let me just go ahead and just cut in and cut out here as I unpackage the rest of this. Alright, after unwrapping them, this is kind of what I got. This kind of looks like most likely the rear, the front fender. This looks like it goes over the suspension, the front suspension bars, or around there. And okay, this, however, was slightly bent. Let me see. You can see that. Can you see that bowing? Let me see here. Try to hold that up here. You can see kind of where it bows out, right about here. You can see right about here and here. That's where it was bent. So I'm going to do my best to kind of push it and squeeze it in. You can kind of see how it's just a little deformed, right about here. Right about here. So I'm going to try to squeeze that in. Other than that, this is probably the rear right here. So this is the rear, and also you got some washers, screws with hex screws with what do you call them? Expansion washers or something like that, and nuts here. So I guess I have to figure where that all goes in. And of course I have my the original toolkit that it comes with. So let me try to bend that into place a little bit better, and let me get started. And I'll probably start with the front fender, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, I think I got this figured out so far. So on the back fender, this right here is going to go into that hole, and I just got to figure out the screws and the nuts and the washers. This right here is going to go on top of right here. This on this other side is actually going to go, I think it's going to go right here, or is it right here? It's either this or this. So I'm going to have to remove one of these and install this one. And then finally, the last part is, if you see that little, you can kind of see that little hole right there, and there's actually a little hole right here. There's going to be another attachment right here, and that should hold it up. On the front one, and these things you kind of have to bend them a little bit, but this is going to attach up here, these attach here and get tied down here, and same thing on this side. This gets tied down here, and I think that's it for the front fender. And so pretty much that's what it's going to kind of look like for the most part. If you can see the fenders there. So I just have to figure out the screws, the nuts, and the washers, and how they all go in there. So let me cut in and cut out, and I'll let you know. Okay, so this is what I got here. There's no other directions. There are blue Loctite on here. This is what I think. I think these are for the sides up front, and I think they come with a washer, I think. There's an extra washer right here, which may be with this. This has a different end piece, and this has nothing. There's nothing here. So I got to figure all this out. I think these three go in the back somewhere for the back fender. So let me try to figure this out, and this is kind of what I'm working with here. And so let me just try to figure this out. Alright, I'm coming back in. It's getting a little dark. It's taking a little bit longer than I expected, but here you simply screw this in over here. It's starting to rain, actually. I might have to do this in later. Actually, let me go ahead and do this later. It's starting to rain. I don't want to do this in the rain. So let me cut out and I'll cut back in. Alright, sorry about that. I'm cutting back in. It started to rain and got kind of dark, so I waited for next day, and you can see here that it is kind of a little wet out there today. A little drizzle, maybe rain in forecast. I've gotten my rear fender on, and just let me show you how I did that real quick. Hold on, let me get my flashlight. Alright, so basically I got this in here on this side. That's where one of it with smaller screws goes in. The other smaller screw, you detach the screw that's there and replace it with this, with a washer on the back side. I'm not sure if I need a washer on one side. Right now I have a lot of washers that I'm not sure what's going on. If you could see back right there, let me see if I can put a little flashlight on there. You can see that's the other nut. I did put that nut is kind of it's a little flat. I have to use a wrench, and then back on the other side here, that's kind of where it's a longer hex bolt, I guess, and that's what goes in here. It attaches under here, as you can see right there. And then here is the other attachment. The way it was set up, I had to just go under here. I don't know if I need a washer right here. I might have to put in a washer, as you can see right there. And so that is the attachment so far I've done on the back side right here, as you can see. And so it looks really nice. So let me cut in and cut out, and I'll go ahead and put the front fender on and show you how that's set up. Alright, so this is what I have so far. As you see, that's the front fender. The toolkit that came with the bike, these are the tools that I used. I know I have a lot of other tools that can make this job faster, but I want to do it with the tools provided by RAD power bikes. So this is all I use. I use some hex wrenches and probably no, most likely one of these. Most likely one of these here. I just had to keep turning. Very tight places. It does recommend to deflate the tires when you do this. I didn't do it. My hands are very dexterous, so I was able to, especially that right here, especially that part right there, the screw and the bolt right at that part, very tight to get into. If you have small dexterous fingers, it helps. Anyways, this is what I have left. This actually came from the part. This came from the bike. I had to replace. I'm left with one of these smaller, I guess, bolts here, and an extra washer. I got 2 washers here, 4 left over, and 1 nut. I don't know where they go. These are probably going to go up front, and I don't think they need a nut, so I might have to review everything and figure out where the washers and everything goes. But here's the fender, the front fender here. I'll go ahead and get that going. Let me cut in and cut out. Alright, I'm done. You know, this is a little bit more detailed. You have to, with just these 2 things, it does take a while, but it's the worth is, I guess, the work is worth it. What I have left is basically the piece that came from the bike. I have an extra small piece for some reason, a washer for that, and an extra nut. Don't know where this is going. I looked all over, but let me show you what I've done on the front part of the fender. This is the setup here. As you can tell, I put a washer and another washer behind it, and in the back here, in the back, you can see I put 2 washers. I put 2 washers right here. Got 2 washers right here. I wish I could get a better view of it. Yeah, you can see 1. I put 2 washers because I had extra washers around. I don't know why. These go inside. I think it goes inside here, in between here, underneath, and then here. I didn't tighten it all the way. I only tightened it to the point where basically the bolt or the screw goes to the end of this nut. As you can see right here on that other side, there's a nut behind there. This one right here. Let me see if I can get the flashlight to show you a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the nut right there. It's right here. There's a nut inside, back here on this side. This was already attached to it, so I didn't do anything. I should probably tighten it just to make sure it's torqued, but I think it's alright. I didn't want to go I didn't want to tighten beyond what was already there. Same thing here, and as you could probably see a better view of it right here. So I didn't want to get the bolt here further than the nut. I guess you could tie it tight as you want, but I think this is good enough. Left just some room in here. I guess if I want to tighten it more, I won't know until I test it. But the way I measured this was I took the wrench. I just took the wrench here, and I just put my finger down to this point right here, and I just kind of said, here, I want it to be this high. And then that's what I did on the other side. Oop. Looks like I dropped something somewhere. Okay. And I did the same thing here, just measured it that way. That way they're even, plus the brake here gets in the way, so I don't want it to go, as you can see on the other side here, the brake does get in the way, but I made it just enough to the point where you can see it. See it right there. So I made it just enough, just so it's over the brakes, and so that's how I did it. This looks very low up in the front. You'll see that it barely has any clearance. I may just have to pull this up a little bit. I try to put this up as high as it could go. It just fits in the front. I was thinking about I was thinking about putting it in the back, towards the back, so it wouldn't be seen, but it didn't look right. So far, that is what it looks like. I'm gonna do a little test run. It is a little wet today, so we'll see how well it splash guards, and I guess I'll be back to tell you how it works. All right. I've ridden around it. There's nothing protruding or getting in the way of the fenders or anything, so I think we're good. You can see it's a little wet here, a little wet, some puddles over the place. I think it did rain a little bit overnight. I'm gonna go in the grass, get the tires wet, then come out and then drive out here. We'll see how it feels. I did get into a little bit of water. I didn't feel any wetness on my back or wetness in the front, so let me ride around a little bit more. I rode it around manually first, and now I'm just going to have some fun with it. I'll be back. Alright, I'm cutting back in here. I did ride it through the field. You can see my little tire tracks here as I came in. I was coming around, coming back here on the sidewalk, went through some water and then came through here, and that's what you're looking at here. And so, as you can see, it's you can see that on the inside that there are a lot of grass and other things on the inside of this here that you can see, but here on the outside, other than some pieces here, I didn't get wet. The seat doesn't look like it got wet. Kind of got wet here, as you can see. Let me get the flashlight here. Maybe that help a little bit. Not really, yeah, a little bit. So you can see here parts of it got wet here. All this definitely got wet on. As soon as I get back to the house, I'm gonna probably blow it off with compressed air. But you could really see a lot of it. So, and here's the front part here. Let's have a look on the inside here. If you want to. So it does help. And let's have a look here. Well, it doesn't get too bad until you get down around here. So I'm gonna have to blow all that off here towards the bottom, which I would expect, not a problem. And you can see around here, but nothing really up on top. Nothing back here. I wasn't really going fast, but I'm not trying to go fast through all this. It was moderate, maybe 5 miles, 6 miles an hour. And you can see the front here. You see the disc brakes on this side. You can see more of it in here, down out here, and then you can finally see it on this side here. Definitely got wet in the chain. You can see that. This is definitely wet. You can see that. You can see that it's definitely wet here. How about the derailleur? Yeah, of course the derailleur would get wet. Obviously the rim is going to get wet. But other than that, I'm pretty satisfied. If I could ride it around, I could probably get it to spin off. Most likely what I'll do is, once I get back, I'll take some compressed air, blow all that stuff off. You don't want it to be wet. It causes rust. Although most of it is aluminum. Most of the parts on this is aluminum, and then other than some screws and bolts, which are steel. So I'll go ahead and I'll ride it back out here again. You can kind of see the trail that I made. Ride it back out, ride it some more, try to get some of that centrifugal force going and really test out the fenders, and then come back and we'll take a look at it, and then one more time, and then after that I'll blow some compressed air on it and make it look clean, and I'll show that again. Alright, I'm back to home base, and so far it works great. When I was going through the field, I wasn't like going really fast. I was just, going fast enough just to get through it. I can see the water splashing away as I look down. Here's what it looks like after riding like really super fast on the street. Alright, here you go. Something like that. There you go. You kind of see. Maybe you can get a view of the inside here, what it might look like. You get the idea. There's the drive here, or the motor. The motor doesn't seem like it got wet at all. You can see it on this side as well. The seat, not so much, except for this little blemish right here, but not a lot, as you can see right here. Very little water. Very little water. So the full fender, I think it's definitely worth getting. You can see here, as well as here, and then of course you got the drivetrain here, and then the rear chain here. Here's the front part here. You can see the bottom. Let's take a look. What was nice, it was as I'm riding and I'm pedaling really fast, and I have my head down. My head is lowered as I'm pedaling. I was on power assist number 5, the fastest, and by the way, I did adjust the control here where I can have I can go up to 25 miles an hour, but I have to pedal to get there. If I use the throttle, it just doesn't work. It'll only go up to 20 miles an hour, so I have to pedal to get to 25. So I did adjust that. I'll do an episode on that. But as I'm leaning forward and I'm pedaling, it's nice because you're not getting any water splashing up on your face. So this guardrail, the fenders, the full fenders, really make a difference. Here's how it looks here. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's see if there's anything under here. I can show you. Let it adjust to the light. There you go. You kind of see most of it. Of course, you can see there. That's probably where most of the water splashes up to, but for the most part, I'm not that wet. Just a little bit around the pants. Shoes is moderately wet. Again, not too bad. So overall, very impressed with the fenders. I think they're worth it, especially if you're planning on riding in all sorts of conditions, off-road, on-road. I think it will handle water just fine. The one mod I might do, and I might do something, I might just put some kind of guard right here, a small little plastic guard or something, maybe. I don't know. I don't plan on riding in the rain that much. Anyways, now what I'm gonna do is I have an air compressor. If you've seen any of my Harbor Freight videos, air compressors are so important. I use that thing more than any other tool, believe it or not. I'm going to go ahead and use compressed air to clean this off, and I'll do a before and after. Alright, everyone, I'm coming back in, and all I did was blow compressed air on it. While it's relatively still wet, you don't want it to dry, but this is what I use here. Got this from my Harbor Freight days. But basically, let's take a look. Not too bad. Cleans it up really good. Blow some compressed air. Took me a while. Here you go. Here's the underside. A lot better. Let me see. Let me check out the wires. That's good on this side. That's good on that side. I don't see anything. The motor looks good. The brakes look good. I try to get anywhere that I think is metal or steel. You can see some of it kind of dried up a little bit, but I'll maybe blow a little bit of air on that. Probably these little things here are steel. All the screws and everything, bolts, probably steel. But a lot of it's aluminum, so not to worry. Try to get this as much as possible, clean that up. Get all this. Also, back here, you can see a little bit. You can see a little bit of water. A little bit of water. This is still moist out here. These channels back here, if you can see them, those little channels, they get water in them, so you have to blow out some water in there. Try to get this is most likely steel. It's probably most likely steel. Blow as much off here, out of here as well. How about the underside? Yeah, I blew off some of the underside, but not really too worried about it. Also not worried about the tire, just worried about the rim of the tire. Make sure that's and the brakes and the parts, the brake padding and everything. Everything on the underside here looks really good. Okay, excellent. The controller too, I try to blow off as much as off the controller. So, all right. Well, anyways, that pretty much concludes this episode. Is the Fenders, the full Fenders, worth it? I think so. I definitely think so. Especially if you're planning on riding around quite a bit, and it looks way cooler with the fender on it. The only thing I'm gonna get now is the rack that goes over here, and I don't know what other accessories, maybe some mirror. I mean, I do really plan on riding this bike for a very long time. So anyways, this concludes this episode. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.